Awaken Cohort.
And welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command. Orion Pirates Plus Mod. I'm Captain Turk, the Dreadnought Jesus Iron Grip, as we continue our colonization efforts upon the planet of 9-5. And last time, well, we got into a little bit of a running gun battle. We are a little bit dented, but colonization is almost complete. The Empire defense of the planet is down to 15, which means shortly it will be ours. So instead of going all the way back home, let us continue the pressure on the enemy. Unfortunately, however, we are going to have to go on a standard patrol first. Hopefully it's not going to be anything too serious. We are very close to being able to grab that planet, and by grabbing that planet, that gives us a forward operations base to continue to invade the Klingon Empire, which would be something we'd very much like to do. So a little bit of damage is still left on the ship. The tractor beam emitters have been broken a little bit, so we'll get the repair teams on there to make sure that we have maximum use of our defensive tractor beams. We will set every system to overload, which sets our plasma torpedoes to enveloping mode. It does require quite a bit of power, but it's a very useful trade-off, especially in a single battleship or a single enemy fight, because we can basically eliminate their shields entirely. It's also very good in a multi-ship fight, because you can use that to support the enemy by leaving them open to other follow-up shots. Let's increase the speed of time, and oh, looks like we're engaging a monster. That's actually really interesting. So monsters almost universally, and by which I mean space monsters, not big dangerous enemy vessels that are pretending to be monsters, they tend to be fairly weak to plasma torpedoes, especially enveloping plasma torpedoes, because they don't have shields. However, this particular monster, called the Sun Glider, is actually pretty decently protected against that because it actually does have shields. It's one of the few monsters actually to have that characteristic about them. Makes it a little bit more difficult. It is an SGL Sun Glider large, so it's going to take a little bit more firepower, and he is going to be packing a fairly decent amount of... Oh, I've got to suck my moment. A fairly decent amount of phaser 4s, and that's going to be sort of the main problem that we're going to have trying to bust through this guy. So we can fire our plasma torpedoes without any sort of fear that he's going to be able to protect himself against them. And as you can see, we weren't even able to fully get through his shields at that point, and his phaser 4 is blasting on into us. Let's see if we can't get away from him before too much happens. We've weakened all of his shields at this point, and we are at close enough range for phasers to start being effective. But at this point, we're going to have to accept a couple of hits, especially from that twin phaser 4 mount, which could cut through our shields quite easily, which is going to be very unfortunate, because when it hits us, it's going to hit like a truck. If we can get behind him, we can hopefully... Nope, I was hoping that we could avoid the hit, but it proved not to be, and as you can see, he just managed to bore right through our shields without any real difficulty. We kind of maybe want to be able to get some distance from him. Okay, and he managed to knock out one of our Plasma F torpedoes, so not a great way to begin the day. Slowing down a little bit more, we want to get the enveloping plasma torpedoes to shoot again. That's the main goal. I can't beam Marines on over to the ship to attempt to damage it even more, unfortunately, because Marines cannot survive on board the monster, which, for obvious reasons, makes a lot of sense. So we're going to have to try and hang back a little bit, see if we can get some distance. We've got a few turns before we're actually going to be able to hurt him. But it does look like he is sort of disengaging, which is actually really good for us. That'll allow us to just survive until our plasma torpedoes are ready to go again. Because now that his shields are mostly gone, we'll be dealing basically double damage to the creature itself. And that will be a very, very nice position to be in. It would be firing into a little bit of a lag pursuit, which is not great. But maybe the best solution... No, not from this distance. We want him to turn around and come back into us, surprisingly enough. A little bit of light phaser fire into him. And he is turning back around into us. Lovely. So now we can set our plasma torpedoes. We should be within range. Let's give him a little bit of love. Probably shouldn't have fired the anti-plasma torpedo. It's not actually going to be able to reach him, I don't think. But the rest hopefully will. Plasma torpedoes set to enveloping mode do actually decay much faster than if they're in just normal mode. And come on. Ooh, not nearly as much damage as we needed. Didn't even knock out all of his shields. Did only about 50 damage. Let's slow down. Let's let him do whatever he wants out there, and we'll just hang back. Give us an opportunity to fully recharge our weapon systems, plasma torpedoes, the whole 9 yards. So we don't mind if he wants to stay away from us, because his phaser 4 can't cut through our forward shield at this point. We have enough defenses going on to us that we can actually just hold against it. And he only has a single shield, and I don't think he can get them back. Alright, so our plasma torpedoes are once again fully charged, so now we're going to start chasing him. It is looking like he's trying to get away from us, which we're not going to let him do. We're going to basically commit to the full attack here, although it is going to require us to go quite quickly on this one. So if we want them, and we do, we're going to have to basically put everything into it and weaken our shields quite considerably. But I need to get within a range of about 5 to guarantee a good hit here. We lost our forward shield, but plasma torpedoes away. Phasers to clean it up. He's just going to take double damage from all our plasma torpedoes. Let's get this repair underway and this repair underway. And we did manage to break him. Ugh. So Sunglider was the worst possible monster we could have possibly run into. He has the kind of defenses that can keep us at bay. Might have been a better idea to use the penetrating plasma torpedoes. They would have gone through his shields, but that's fine for now, hopefully. Hopefully we're in a decent position. A holding action or planetary assault. We shall take the planetary assault, for we are trying to colonize this land in the name of the Gorn and the Lizard people. Alright, we are being escorted by a DNG, the USS Stephens, a Federation battle dreadnought, and actually a quite nice one. Squaring off against a C-5K. I doubt he's alone. There's most likely a ship right over there that we're going to have to deal with, and that'll be more than a little bit unfortunate because it should be rather powerful. In this circumstance, going to enveloping plasma torpedoes is an excellent idea because we will be able to support the Stephens. He'll be able to basically fire his plasma torpedoes and his phasers, of which he has many of them, into that ship and basically whittle them down into nothing. We will launch a probe just to confirm. Oh, it looks like he actually is alone. That's very surprising to me. So, as you can see, he's only C5 Dreadnought. It's not the biggest thing ever. I think the DNG, the Federation Guided Dreadnought, is a little bit more powerful than that. And really, he's fairly vulnerable to a lot of attacks. I'm actually kind of surprised. Let's pick up the pace so we can actually get involved in this battle. We want to be able to whittle down his shields as soon as possible. That'll be the best position for us to be in. Because it will allow us to then, it will allow him actually, the Stephens, to be very aggressive with his phasers because the enemy won't have any shields. But if they keep dragging the fight away from me, I can't be all that supportive. Alright, plasma torpedoes fire the pseudo. And he should react to this. Yes, there he goes. So there's his crash stop. And we're going to slow to a stop as well. Actually, I'm going to target this. Didn't hit. Target this. Got him. Okay, so as soon as the attack shift goes away, we'll know that it has worked. We'll know that we'll have deactivated the Wild Weasel. And it's gone. Now all of our plasma torpedoes. And he has no more defenses. And he took 105 damage for that. So now we'll pick up the pace. We'll travel on through. Plasma torpedoes, they can stay on developing. That should be fine. I don't anticipate he's going to be alive much longer, because we've managed to hurt him quite nicely. I wish we had a few more phasers, just to give us a little bit more of an aggressive stance when it comes to our phaser support, but we are really all about the plasmas. So we've managed to knock out his anti-missile defense system, so as soon as we basically burn through his tractor beam, which we just did, that'll allow the Stephens to use his missiles even more aggressively, although like I was about to say, I suspect we'll take him out with the phasers first. Alright, we'll come around now to the planet. We'll increase the speed of time, because we just got to bombard the planet into the ground. And that'll be the plan. So we'll set ourselves up at decent-ish medium range. We'll just send plasma torpedoes right on into the location. And eventually the shields will drop. The planet will be stripped away of all its defenses, and we can beam over our marines. With any luck, we'll get lucky. With any luck, we'll get lucky. With any luck, we'll be able to sort of hopscotch the normal amount of time that it takes, and we won't have to do 3 missions in order to steal this planet. But if not, well, then we're fully prepared to do it. We took no major damage in that fight. The shields only went down to red on the forward port side, so nothing too bad at this point. We are relatively good. DNG, of course, getting shot at now because the AI, for some reason, thinks that he's the most dangerous threat. We're going to put our ECCM up to maximum just to make sure that it can't defend himself. Nice shooting from the photon torpedoes off of the USS Stephens. That should weaken him a little bit more, and we'll start pulling into a nice little stop. We want to get to a distance of about 15. That's where we can start doing things. Beyond that, it really becomes kind of difficult to put enough damage down on it. So he did, of course, fire a whole ton of missiles. They'll all be shot down or caught. But we'll fire our plasma torpedoes now, and we'll slow to a stop. And it sounded like he actually got something through, but no, that was just the photon torpedoes not actually hitting the shield and instead impacting the planet. And it plays a stock sound whenever you impact anything like that, even though it didn't actually do any damage. Which is kind of sad. You'd imagine that you wouldn't be able to miss a planet, but it's entirely possible. Especially with photon torpedoes, which is more than a little ridiculous. So he's starting to whittle things down a little bit, but focusing most of his fire on the same side that we're on. The plasma torpedoes are kind of our big advantage here, because hopefully, yep, and we've stripped off every single shield except for this forward one here, because he's been reinforcing it with all his additional power. So now all of our plasma torpedo strikes will be ×2, minus 1/6 of the total damage, because most of the shields have actually died, which puts us in a very, very powerful position. He started opening fire on us. I think he's realized that we're a little bit more dangerous now, especially that we've come within plasma torpedo range. We're not really using plasma F torpedo range, so we're only using our forward 3 most powerful batteries, but it's doing a fairly decent amount of damage regardless. Apparently we've damaged the shuttle bay, but he's not capable of launching fighters or shuttles, so that's a bit of a moot point. I believe they were looking into that at one point, to seeing if you could have a planet that could have a fighter garrison, and they found that it just did not seem to work. Although one of the things was to put a defense platform that would have fighters, but I'm not quite sure where that ever went to. There may be some difficulty trying to tell the game to have to spawn special maps with emplacements like that on one of these missions, but maybe not. It'll be interesting to find out at a later date. So this force shield is still intact, even though we've managed to severely cripple the planet. We're going to get a little bit closer. That way we can actually see what we're doing with the actual shields. I don't think they're there for much more. I mean, I can't imagine that they'll survive a whole heck of a lot more than this. But we haven't exactly been concentrating damage, so maybe they're still good. And we're within range, and we've identified how strong their shields are. We are close enough now for the actual normal plasma F torpedoes, so that'll increase our firepower just a little bit as we bore on through the planet. So let's go check out his marine complement size. He is down to 2. Okay, wonderful. So the moment that we actually hit the distance of transporters, which is 5.99, we can send over our marines. Oh, that's a pseudoplasma torpedo. We can send over our marines and have it conquered. So now we just wait for our marine forces to finish securing the planet from the Klingons, because apparently the Klingons have been holding this neutral planet in the middle of territory between the Federation and Mirak Star League. It makes sense, I'm sure. And once we have that, well, we'll be in another position to attack it again. And once we take it again, and maybe again after that, we will have our base of operations to start conducting operations in Klingon space, where we can bully them around with our plasma torpedoes. It'll also give us an opportunity to actually repair the ship, because we are pretty heavily damaged, actually. We're heavily damaged and we're going through spare parts, and we'd prefer not to. Oh, I was about to say it's neutral, but it's always neutral because it is a neutral planet. Leave and come back, so it refreshes the mission tile, and a shipyard assault. Not a huge fan of the shipyard assault. It's a little bit tedious, but if we can get it done safely without taking any real damage, then we are a bit outgunned here, I think. We have 2 dreadnoughts at this point, a C9KR and a C9KR, and we are once again with another DNG, a Federation-guided dreadnought. Unfortunately, I think we're a little bit outgunned here. So we're going to set our plasma torpedoes to enveloping. We're going to have to be a little bit more smart, about how we actually want to play this. Because if we just get in close and just sort of wade on top of them, we can get overpowered quite heavily. We probably should start using more Romulan-style tactics of hit and run using our enveloping plasma torpedoes at high speeds, because that will allow us to safely engage these guys without being stuck at low speed while their phasers can rip into us, because we really are light on phasers. 10 phaser 1s is not exactly huge. I'm going to set a probe just to see if I can't count to see how many phaser 1s he's got. Maybe it's something similar, but I don't really think so. I think a dreadnought normally would have more than that. 2, 4, 6, 8, and ooh, so he's got even fewer phaser 1s than we do. That's interesting. I wonder if he's equipped with fighters, because if not, we might be able to bully him. I probably should just stick with hit and run attacks, though, because there are 2 of them, and that would make life a little bit easier. Pick up the pace. We need a little bit more speed for ourselves, so we're going to tap the shield budget quite heavily so that we can come at these guys together with the Argus. Taking a little bit of damage on our unshielded side, which is not good, because it's also going to be the side that this one also aims for. His long-range disruptor fire wasn't able to find any purchase. Unfortunately, the Argus was only able to nail one of his plasma torpedo, or one of his proximity photon torpedoes. So I'm thinking we're going to go this, and we're going to launch a pseudo torpedo. See if we can't cause him to early attempt to dump the Wild Weasel and place us in a position where we can engage him more aggressively, especially from behind would be very helpful. Is he going to crash stop? And there's his crash stop going. And he did launch missiles, which will mean that that shuttle will be offline by the time we actually make it into damage range. So his attack shift is 2. That'll drop as soon as we get, as soon as it finishes flashing for about 5 seconds. And then plasma torpedoes. Now we can follow this up with a full-on phaser barrage as we pass through, because we didn't actually have to slow down for this one. There we go. Quite a bit of damage caused on that one. He is not feeling well on this. Starting to accelerate. He's at a speed of 4. We're going to pull away as quickly as we can. Plasma torpedoes back to normal. I need the power at the moment. I need the power to disengage because my shields are quite low, especially on the stern, which is not good. He's doing a speed of 20, so if we want to get away, we've got to be able to match that. Although it does look... Are you holding on to me? Oh, that's clever of you. By holding on to me, he keeps me in a position where his buddy can do stuff to me, and I don't want that to happen. These last couple of missiles ought to be able to take him out. And cascading failure didn't quite kill him. We've got him mostly offline. At this point, we can probably ignore him. Our aft shields are getting mighty thin, and I'm not happy about that. So we're just going to have to pull away. How fast is he going? He's increasing speed. He's chasing us. Drop a mine. We got to get him off us. Romulan FRDs mean that, Romulan FRDs are equipped with plasma F torpedoes, which is very short-ranged, so we won't have to worry too much about that. We are starting to outpace him, so we can extend the range out, which will make him less effective. Now, he does have disruptors. Disruptors are very effective plinking weapons from long range, and these 2 weak shields make a turn away from him very difficult. Gotta dump another mine here. We've got to put ourselves in a position where the Argus can basically bail us out. Because I want to come back around to meet back up with the Argus, but unless he cooperates with that turn, which it looks like he is now, we're going to have a little bit of a difficult time doing that. Now, I'm kind of surprised that him as a Dreadnought is trying to maintain a speed of 30.7. That is an incredibly aggressive speed to maintain in something so large. But he's now slowing down to combat speeds, it looks like. So the point defense systems on the Argus, more than capable of handling the Death Slayer's missile barrage, not even phased by it. We'll start to slow down a little bit more, so that we actually have power for our weapon systems. And all of our plasma torpedoes are now charging, although they haven't been charging at all since, so we've only got a single plasma torpedo, which is not a great position to be in, but now we're on the offensive. He's slow. We're moving in with the Argus. We've got a little squadron division tactics thing going on here, and we should be able to come in, unless, you know, the Argus pulls away in a position that sacrifices that pincer movement we had going. Alright, that's fine. He is also maneuvering, though, to get into the stern, so that should be helpful. Already we can see that the Death Slayer has lost most of his defensive shielding at this point. 2 of our F-type plasma torpedoes are ready to go on this run, and he's just deployed his Wild Weasel. So if we start to slow down to give ourselves some forward shield defenses, we actually should be able to hit him for a pretty decent amount of damage. We're not going to have our major plasma torpedoes on this one, but he doesn't have a shield here, so that'll be 40 damage plus the phasers right on through, which is not bad at all. So we're within a decent amount of range here. So the phasers and the plasma torpedoes, hopefully he doesn't get that forward shield on target. He did not. Lovely. He did weaken our shields even more considerably. So defensive tractor beams have been engaged to hold off any sort of missile strike that he happens to get going. We are going to have to pull away, but he did get a shot on through our shields and causing damage. Knocked out our shuttle away, knocked out a phaser 3, did a little bit of damage to the engine. And we're going to end up on a mine. Ooh, we're out of mines. So that's unfortunate. And he's torn off another one of our shields thanks to that mine run. We're just going to hit the power and get on out of here. We need some distance. We need some time. And he's going to try and make it so that we don't have either of those things. One of the reasons why we need distance is because if he explodes within a certain amount of range, he will deal damage to us, and we really can't afford that damage at the moment. His forward shield is impressive. It's still at full power. Okay, mine getting dumped just behind him. I do want to turn so I can get a defensive shield between me and him. His speed of 8.5 makes that actually possible, although this shield is not very thick at all. It will not last for very long. Plasma S torpedo right into his face. If it keeps turning, he'll no longer have a shield, but now he brought it back on. Although that brings most of his shields down to basically nothing as we get a couple more phaser shots on him. We're not going to be able to get the plasma the plasma R torpedo on target. It's too narrow of an arc to try and make happen. So we'll start coming around to turn the other way because it looks like we've knocked out all of his phasers at this point. So our aft shield's pretty badly mauled by this, mostly because we spent a lot of this fight with our tail towards him, which is not great, but we are still alive. So we do have that going for us. We do have a plasma torpedo in arc. If this makes it to him, it'll probably kill him, although the Argus might kill him before that happens. He's in a very good position to do it. He's holding on to it, make sure that he can't deploy any Wild Weasel, although his shuttle bay is already destroyed, and the photon torpedo before our plasma torpedo can get there. Alrighty. Full speed of time. It's time to start sieging out the Stardocks themselves, although we really would like a bit of help on this one, and it looks like the Argus has no idea what's going on. So we're going to kick on a tractor beam, we're going to drag him. He's coming with us. No, don't leave the battlefield. The Stardocks are behind us. They are behind us, Argus. For goodness sake. You need to follow me. Come with me if you want to win the war. So get within tractor beam range. No, seriously, where are you going? I didn't say you could leave. We have an entire mission to still do. Full powered engines. Let's burn on back, because now we got to drive directly against his power, which is not fun, because it's a lot of power that he's got. He's traveled at a speed of only 8, but that's directly countering our current speed, which is going to make it take 10 turns to reach this location. Lovely. If only I could order the AI and tell them, hey, dummy, there's actually a fight still to be had. You need to actually help out. This is why we're allies. I'm coming all the way to your side of the galaxy to help you out with this battle. The very least you can do is help finish this off. Eventually he will turn around, hopefully. I'm not quite sure what causes the AI to get so confused about where the enemy actually is. It seems rather straightforward to me. Are we serious? Oh, because we had 4 points of power on the tractor beam, but that was because we had our defensive tractors powered on that one pass we made when he launched missiles fairly close on top of us. I wanted to make sure that we didn't actually take the missile hits, and so by activating our defensive tractors, we were able to make that not happen. It's nice to know the hotkey. It's C, by the way, in case you didn't know. So, a very important hotkey to have ready, especially for fighting missile races. If you're not fighting a missile race, nobody cares then, because at that point, you're never going to use them. That is literally the only reason to use defensive tractor beams. Are you coming yet? No? You're still confused as to what actually is going on here? Oh, he's opening fire, but if I drop him, he probably won't turn to engage. We just gotta take some time to pull him close enough that some part of his AI will realize, hey, wait, battle is to be had. Maybe not. Maybe he's just gonna immediately fly away the moment we get anywhere near there. Alright, let's start to slow down. Unfortunately, I can't slow down below a speed of... Oh, also turn this off. I can't fall below a speed of 8, otherwise he'll just completely cancel out my motion. There's that. Okay, so I'm going to fire... Pseudo plasma torpedo. Yeah, that's what I thought. Target that, target that, target that. Come on. Show me the gosh darn little tiny shuttle. Won't even select it. Fire all the pseudo torpedoes at this point. Let's see if he's got anything left. No, I can see it now. No, I can't hit it. Alright, so that means my plasma torpedoes are useless. I'm having to waste power to pull this guy with me because he won't do anything else. Oh, wow, it actually hit him. I'm surprised at that one. So the reason why that happened is because either he decided to shoot or because the shuttle passed outside of range. One of the two. Okay, we got the first one. Let's continue to bring... Oh, looks like our boat anchor finally woke up. Alright. You ready to fight? Good. Go fight. Oh, sometimes working with the AI is like hurting cats. That's something of an insult to cats. Now, the one problem is we cannot tractor beam FRDs. So there is no way for us to stop him from being able to launch Wild Weasels other than beam people over to kill it, which is a bit of an annoyance. It does make these Stardock missions a little bit more difficult because we are a race that does rely very heavily on guided weapons, which are completely vulnerable. And we take that with no problem at all. He simply does not have enough damage to do anything about that. And we'll slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Any pseudo torpedoes I got left? Target. Phasers. Blow it up, blow it up. Okay, stop. All stop. There we go, boring right through his defenses. Now he did go into cloak, which is irritating, because now we gotta shoot through the cloak. We still have 22 points of power on the forward shield, so we really don't care about any amount of firepower that he can dish out to us. We are literally invulnerable to any plasma torpedo he throws our way. Unfortunately for us, he's just gonna stay under cloak for a while now. So we're just going to have to sit here and continually bombard him. I can get a little bit closer, but part of the problem is plasma torpedoes will start to deal splashback damage to us, which will hurt us quite heavily. There we go. On to the last one. Let's see if the Argus has managed. There they go. Argus, luckily for us, has saved us a bit of time and taken out the other dock at about the same time. Lucky. Alrighty, let's see what that does. We should make 450 prestige, and the tile is ours. So we have... Forfeit. So we have managed to capture the planet here. It is now ours. We can now use it as a repair yard. We can use it to buy new ships. So that's wonderful. Oh, that's very, very lovely. So our base of operations is secure against the Klingon Star Empire. Next time, we shall probably start moving in to start invading and taking a couple of their border locations. Hopefully we can capture a couple of star bases to be even closer to the enemy forces. But anyway, that's been today's episode. I've been Mirak. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post one of these videos, press the little bell icon, leave a comment. I will see you all in the next episode.